Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Sofa Sensei'S. You are joined by me, Kahvan. Rochelle can't be with us today, but this is still the akhi&saltfish digital network. We've previewed Fury vs. White. We've reviewed Fury vs. White. We've got to know Nico Michael, and by the way, he's got a fight coming up this weekend. But today, we're being armchair experts, we're being couch coaches, and most importantly, we're being Sofa Sensei's, and we're going to discuss UFC 274. So, it's an interesting one today because obviously it's just me talking about the upcoming fight card in the UFC 274 main event. Charles Oliveira defending his lightweight title versus Justin Gaethje. Really excited about that one. But just before we get stuck into that, I want to delve into the rest of the card, give some predictions, give some background if I've got any, and then also touch on other things in the fight world. So you've got Canelo fighting this weekend. We had Katie Taylor fighting last weekend. Shakur Stevenson fighting last weekend. All these interesting topics to talk about. So let's get stuck straight in. So I think the prelims look quite interesting for UFC 274. It takes place in, I want to say, Denver? Sorry, Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, it takes place there. So, the undercard, as they call it in boxing, or the prelims, as they call it in the UFC. If I was to pick one fight out of those, because I'm not going to go through all of it, because I don't really know everyone. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, that's what happens when you're a Sofa Sensei. You're not really up on all of it, but the fight I'm really looking forward to on the prelims is Chaos Williams versus Randy Brown. So if you're not familiar with Chaos Williams, just pick any of his fights in the UFC, and they all end with an exciting finish in some way or another. So he's really aggressive, as the name suggests. Chaos by name, chaos by nature. He's aggressive, he's fast, he's powerful. Really great welterweight to watch. So make sure you check him out. And he's fighting Randy Brown, who's a Jamaican. So naturally, I'm going to say Randy Brown gets the win done, because that's just how the akhi&saltfish network runs. So yeah, Randy Brown for the win against Chaos Williams, although I'm a really big fan of Chaos, so should be a good fight to tune into and watch. And by the way, if you're in the UK, this UFC 274 card is available on BT Sports. I think the prelims begin at 1 a.m. and the main card starts at 3 a.m. And we're in for a treat because we've got John Anik, probably the most knowledgeable commentator in the UFC. DC, obviously legendary champ status. And Joe Rogan, the staple of the UFC, commentating as a trio this weekend. So it should be fun. Moving on to the main card then, it opens with, I think, a legendary bout, I would call it. You've got Donald Cerrone on a bit of a skid at the moment, if we're being honest. I think he's lost his last 4 fights, maybe his last 5 fights, versus Joe Lozon, who hasn't fought in about, 2022. He hasn't fought in about 3 years. Let's see. So Joe Lozon, his last fight was 2019, October. And he won via TKO. So to be fair to him, he's on a win. He's coming in on a win. Donald Cerrone, if we was to go to his, he's 39, he's nearly 40 now. 16 losses in his career, but 36 wins. Lots of fights. I think there's 97 combined fights between the two guys. And, he's got a no contest in September 2020, but he hasn't won a fight since May 2019. And he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you include the no contest. So 5 losses. Wow. His last win was against Al Iaquinta in 2019. Wow. Donald Cerrone, he's been on a bit of a sad run. I think we're probably seeing the end of these two guys, but it's great that they're fighting, another person who is equally as, I suppose, at the tail end of their career. Both talented in their day, both pioneers of a previous era of the UFC. It will be a fun fight, and what a great way to honour those guys and open it up. I'd probably choose. I mean, look, I believe in Donald. I think he's a really interesting character. I think he's a really fun guy. He explores. He's adventurous. He's probably just lost his edge. Joe Lozon points. Yeah. Joe Lozon points. That's my prediction. Okay. Moving on. You got Maurizio Shogun Hua versus OSP St. Preux. Ovin St. Preux. Yeah, not really a fan of OSP, if I'm honest with you. I only really know him because he fought John Jones and lost after John Jones came back against, or I think it was since his first drugs pop. Shogun, obviously a legend of the sport. I watched OSP's last fight and it was boring. If I'm gonna be honest, he didn't really look like he wanted to be there. Obviously, I think it was a heavyweight as well, so he was trying to like refresh his career by moving up a weight and seeing what he could do there. I think he lost. Did he lose on points or did he get knocked out? Let's see. So his last fight, yeah, he lost it KO round 2. So and then, but to be fair, you know, Shogun Hua, he is 1-2. He's a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. He lost his last one against Paul Craig, and Paul Craig seems to pull it out of the bag against a lot of people. Then he won against Nogueira before that. He had a draw against Paul Craig. Then he won against Tyson Pedro and lost against Anthony Smith. And then he had a couple wins back to back to back. So, yeah, I'd probably say on form alone, 40-year-old Hua probably gets it done. Probably. I mean, I don't really know. With these sorts of fights, I'm not really invested to be doing research. But the next 3 fights, oh my God, this is what gets a Sofa Sensei up. Yeah, you've got Iron Michael Chandler versus El Kukui, the boogeyman, or the bogeyman, really, not boogie, and boogie's a bit of a dance, but the bogeyman, Tony Ferguson. Okay, so look, let's break this one down. Not both of their last fights, but they've both lost to Justin Gaethje, and they've both lost to Charles Oliveira. If we look at how Michael Chandler lost to Justin Gaethje, it was a back and forth affair. It was a violent fight, probably the most violent fight of the year, the fight of the year in 2020. Remember, I actually had like my cousin's 40th that day, and I got up, or I stayed up actually, and was eating McDonald's, drunk out my head, watching this card, and that fight was just amazing. So, yeah, Michael Chandler, tough guy. I thought he was a little bit chinny, but he proved in that Justin Gaethje fight that he isn't chinny. He obviously just got caught cold against the current lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira. So, Michael Chandler, really great speaker, phenomenal guy. But if you want to talk about good speakers as well, you've got Mr. Dana White privilege. What a line. That needs a little... What a line by Tony Ferguson there. This man's got Dana White privilege. I think Tony Ferguson's loss to Justin Gaethje was sad, man. Real sad. I think it was the first card as we were in pandemic lockdown era. And to just see a man so tough as Tony Ferguson is, just get his head punched in time and time again and not go down was just insane to watch. His body clearly should have wanted out. It didn't want out. He kept going. He kept marching forward. And that finish where he got hit and just shook his head because he was clearly befuddled. And Herb Dean, thankfully and gracefully, stepped in and stopped it. My gosh, tough guy. And then you add in the Charles Oliveira defeat, where his arm was basically stretched beyond 180 degrees. Again, toughed it out and just lost on points. Michael Chandler had some really great success in the first round against Charles Oliveira. I thought he was going to win the title again. I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning watching that one thinking, yes, come on. I really wanted him to win. I was a big fan. I loved the story of, having his ups and downs, but really being the face of Bellator. And then coming to the UFC, knocking out Dan Hooker, getting the title shot. Amazing. I loved that. I bought straight into that story. It wasn't to be that night. And he did get stopped in the second round. He got caught by I want to say left hook. Might have been a right hook though. I think it was a left hook. Caught, dropped, and then just TK on the floor. So, I'd probably say again, who had the worst loss there? I don't know, Charles Oliveira comprehensively beat Tony Ferguson. Charles Oliveira caught Michael Chandler. It goes to show how good is Charles Oliveira, though. What names. This fight, there's a lot on the line. If Michael Chandler loses this one, well, he lost his one to Justin Gaethje. He lost that shot to Charles Oliveira. Where does he go from here? The Conor McGregor fight? It's a big fight. He's a big name still. He's still a great competitor. So, yeah, interesting. If Tony Ferguson loses this one, it's sad. It's probably the end of the road. I don't know who he fights next. He seems in a really good place, though. He seems in a really balanced place. And if you know the akhi&saltfish digital network, when we get to know people, we always ask them, you are at your best when you are. And I think Tony Ferguson is at his best when he is balanced, you know. He's not worried about being the boogeyman. He's not worried about being this guy on a 12-fight win streak. He's not even worried about the last 3 losses of his career. He's just focused on Michael Chandler. And a great period for Tony Ferguson. He's not worried about Khabib. You know, I watched an interview with him in DC today, and he was saying, look, obviously they did mention Khabib, right? But he was saying, look, I want to focus on Michael Chandler. Everyone else is focused on Khabib. F that guy. And you know what? I'm glad his mind's off it, because that was a fight that we never got to see, booked 5 times, and we never got to see it. But we should have seen it, I think. It's a shame that it never happened. And I think I genuinely bought into, again, Tony being able to be the man that could beat Khabib, but it wasn't to be. And in hindsight, it probably wasn't going to be either. Look, I think it's almost impossible to say that any man is tougher than Tony Ferguson. So I'd say Tony Ferguson is certainly tougher than Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler hits ridiculously hard. If you go on the social media of the Sofa Sensei's on Instagram, we'll be able to show a video rather, which shows a 1-punch knockout by Michael Chandler. Insane. Speed, explosiveness. He trains like an animal. I really don't know to pick though, because can you get Tony Ferguson out there? I don't know. Not many people have. I don't think anyone has. I don't know. But let's see. Tony Ferguson's got 6 losses. Got 1 TKO loss and 1 submission loss. Yeah, he's a hard guy to get out there. Look, I want Michael Chandler to win this fight. I would really enjoy Michael Chandler winning this fight and then going into a Conor McGregor fight or a Justin Gaethje or Charles Oliveira, whoever wins the title fight. That'd be really good. I'm going to go with Michael Chandler. Wouldn't be surprised if Tony Ferguson got it done, though. He is El Kukui. He is the bogeyman. He is, even in defeat, undefeatable. So, yeah, it's anyone's fight, but I'd say Michael Chandler gets it done. And hopefully, if he does lose, we see Tony Ferguson retire, because, you know, he needs to protect himself. He needs to protect his brain. So, yeah, really important. The next fight is the title fight, the first title fight of the night. We've got Carla Esparza, probably the best strawweight wrestler there is, fighting Rose. Thug Rose! Nami Yunus. The current strawweight women's world champ. Yeah, man. Rose gets it done. I ain't really got to say much more than that. Rose is slick. She's got great striking. She's got good wrestling defense. She even got good jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I think she keeps it on the feet. I think she beats Carla Esparza. Don't think she stops her. Let's see. Isn't Carla Esparza got any stoppages, losses? Let's see. 2 stoppage losses in 6, 3 decisions, 1 submission. I think Rose beats her on points. You know, this is a rematch though. Carla Esparza, I think she did choke her out. So, you know, history can repeat itself. But Rose has done really, really well in rematches recently. Well, not even recently. Over the course of her career, she's done really, really well. So, she lost to Tisha Torres in 2013 decision. Then she avenged that loss in 2016 via decision. She, of course, lost to Jessica Andrade by that slam on her head. Then she came back and beat Jessica Andrade. She beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk 2017, then beat her by TKO, then beat her via decision the next year. And she beat Zhang Weili with that monstrous head kick in the first round, and then, of course, beat her on decision last year. So Rose is undefeated in rematches. And, well, let's see how she gets on with this one. Carla Esparza, I think Rose gets it done, like I say, by decision. Should be a fun fight. Then, of course, let's build some anticipation for this one. Bear with me. We've got the main event, the title fight, the lightweight 155-pound title fight between Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira and the human highlight reel Justin Gaethje. Wow, what a fight. I mean, look, for me, we're going with Oliveira, because it is the Oliveira. If you get that one, just send an email into us and tell us that you got it, please. It would be nice to be acknowledged by some fellow Sofa Sensei's. Justin Gaethje, he's good, and I can't call him great, but he is good. that performance against Tony Ferguson is probably his best performance. Although in hindsight, when you look at what Tony Ferguson has done since, maybe it's not. But I think he looked phenomenal that night. Really, really good. Really good. It propelled him with the momentum into that Khabib title fight, which obviously he lost by a triangle in the second round, I think. Yep. So, second round. So, look, Charles Oliveira, he seems to be really vulnerable at the start of fights. I don't know if it's because he's not warm. I don't know if obviously his eyesight's really, really bad, like he's clinically blind. So he's unable to see certain shots and certain things. And maybe he takes some time to warm up into a fight and get people's timings and get their patterns and that sort of thing. So maybe that's why he's vulnerable at the start. I think he's in a different league at the moment. I think he's in his own world. He's in his element. He's doing really great things for the division. If we go through he's on I think he's on a 12-fight winning streak. Something ridiculous, right? So how many wins has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's on a 10-fight winning streak. This will be his 11th fight in that win streak. So if we go from his last 3 fights, he's beaten, I'll tell you what, let's even go to his last 4 fights. He's beaten Kevin Lee in 2020 via submission round 3, guillotine. And Kevin Lee at the time was a great prospect in the division. A man who had Khabib's number, if you watch a lot of Kevin Lee's assy holes in Khabib's game interviews. Tony Ferguson, he beat him by decision. Tried to submit him twice and just couldn't get him out of there because Tony Ferguson is so damn tough. But decision. Knocked out Michael Chandler, the golden boy of the UFC, the new golden boy, and then choked out Dustin Poirier, who many people believed walking into that fight was the champ in waiting. So Charles Oliveira is on a run. He's doing great things. He's doing fantastic things. And I think he continues that run by beating Justin Gaethje. And I think he beats him second round stoppage. Justin Gaethje hits hard, right? He hits real hard. And he's a tough guy. But he has been stopped. He has been submitted. Charles Oliveira is a jiu-jitsu expert, probably one of the best in the division, if not the UFC. If we go through his last 5 opponents, you start to see a few challenges. Michael Chandler, a back and forth war against the guy that Charles Oliveira knocked out in the second round. Khabib Nurmagomedov, choked out, second round. Tony Ferguson, he looked great on that night. Tony Ferguson, he snapped the 12-fight streak of the Boogeyman. So, great performance. Donald Cerrone, already on a skid. Edson Barboza, challenge. James Vick, not the guy who we thought he was. Not to discredit Justin Gaethje's career, actually, he's done great things and he's proven himself to be really tough and really exciting. He literally is and embodies his nickname in that of the human highlight reel. Fantastic. But I just think his time as champion is not meant to be, and it's not going to be with Charles Oliveira, unfortunately. Look, I'll be happy to be wrong. Justin Gaethje winning the title from Charles Oliveira sets up a monster fight with Notorious. I'd love to see Conor McGregor back in a title fight because why not, man? Conor McGregor is hype. Conor McGregor brings eyes. Conor McGregor brings money. It's always a great build-up with Mr. McGregor. So, yeah, I'd be interested in that. Although, who wins that fight? Probably Justin Gaethje. So, yeah. I think Charles Oliveira gets it done. And then who does he fight next? We don't know. But this is just the preview. So, that is my predictions. The Sofa Sensei's official predictions for UFC 274 or 274. Coincidentally, 274 is my date of birth. So, you just missed my 25th birthday. It was a great time. I had a good one. Thanks to everyone involved. And if you do want to give myself a birthday gift, please do leave a 5-star rating on the podcast and let people know that you're enjoying it. Share it with them and let them know the different shows that we have. We have Before Our Friends Die, we have this, Sofa Sensei's, and we have Cool, Fine, Done, Wicked. 3 great shows on the akhi&saltfish digital network. And of course, if you want to get in touch, then please do email akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. But it sounds like I was about to end it. I'm not about to end it because we've got some other things to talk about as well. So we've got Canelo in the, on DAZN fighting Bivol. Dimitri Bivol, forgot his name then. for the WBA 175 light heavyweight championship. It's a continuation from Canelo just unifying the 168 super middleweight titles. And then you've got Canelo, who has also beaten Kovalev for the WBO light heavyweight title. So I don't know if he's still got that. He might still have that. I don't know. If he has, then obviously he's unifying some titles. And if he hasn't, then he's just collecting another one anyway. And maybe, just maybe, the idea is to make his reign as an undisputed 175 light heavyweight fighter. That'd be interesting to see Canelo do that. Look, Canelo's an enigma, man. He is powerful. He's fast. He's still lucid. He's still a fantastic cerebral fighter with great IQ. I don't see Bivol getting it done. Not gonna lie, I watched Bivol fight Craig Richards on, I think it was a Eubank undercard, I can't remember, but I wasn't that impressed. And maybe it was the level of competition that maybe Bivol dumbed down his game a little bit, or maybe Craig Richards is that good. Bivol's tough though, like he's got the fundamentals down and his amateur career is very vast, so he's definitely got the skills there. But Canelo's just, he's a great fighter, right? And Bivol's probably just a good fighter. And I think, and also let's not forget as well, like this whole build up, this whole fight is always going to be in favor of Canelo. Everything is in Canelo's favor, probably, right? In terms of the ring, in terms of the officials, in terms of the promotion, all these things, because Canelo's the A side. Canelo's not just the A side, actually. He's the A plus side. Canelo, it's the Canelo show. It's Cinco de Mayo. Is it the 5th of May right now? It's Cinco de Mayo right now. This is Canelo's time. This is Canelo's period in the year. So if Bivol's going to win, he's going to have to stop him. Look, at the end of the day, Canelo is going up, and these guys do hit harder. And you know what? I'm about to say something controversial already. I sort of hope Canelo gets chinned. It'll be interesting. And the reason why I spent so much time on UFC 274 is because there's so many fights there where I don't know who's going to win. And I don't really feel like there's a spin on anyone to win, right? I feel like the UFC is going to keep going and is invested in anyone winning. So, yeah, it's great. But with this Canelo show, I feel like it is the Canelo show. And therefore, all things point to Canelo winning. Maybe that makes me a hater. I don't know. But, Canelo gets it done. He stops Bivol late. That's my prediction. Yeah. I know a lot of people, though. A lot of people on my Twitter who know more about boxing than I do are suggesting that they wouldn't be surprised at all if Bivol gets it done. So, who knows? Big drama show. Canelo is moving up a weight. He's not new to this weight, though. Like I say, he has fought before, but he's fought maybe a shot-worn Kovalev who just fought Anthony Yarde 2 months before, #Lions in the camp. So, yeah, who knows? We will see what the outcome is with that Canelo fight. And hopefully they have more interesting things to say about it once the fight is over and we get back in here with a review. Okay, moving on to last weekend's events. Just the last bit now. Katie Taylor. Let's just wheel up the blood clot thing, yeah? Katie Taylor. Fantastic. I think it's lightweight. I'm not going to lie. The weights in women's boxing aren't my strong point. I just watch the fights for the sake of them. And it's amazing. Katie Taylor put on a masterful performance. A tough, gritty performance. Again. I watched both those fights with Pursoon, and I just wonder, how long can this girl take this amount of damage? It's scary. No fighter should be taking that, or should be that tough, right? No human should be that tough, but these fighters are different animals. Katie Taylor, she's a pioneer in women's boxing. She's done amazing things. Sold out Madison Square Gardens. 1.5 million viewers on DAZN. Probably another 2 million on other platforms, if you know what I'm saying. #streaming. Yeah, really looking forward to her hanging up the gloves, if I'm honest. I don't think she will. Eddie Hearn mentioned Holly Holm and Cyborg, Chris Cyborg, as potential fights in Ireland in front of 85,000. It would be nice if Katie got her homecoming fight in Ireland and then called it a day. Like, look, I'm really conservative when it comes to these sorts of things. I don't want to see fighters take too much damage, okay? I love the sport, but I love the fighters way much more. So if these fighters can get in, get rich, and get out, I'm happy with that, so long as we see the fights that we're meant to see. So at the end of the day, Katie and Amanda put on a fantastic performance and really platformed women's boxing, which is what it needed, to be honest with you. It needed that marquee fight that people could say, yo, watch this, because it's amazing. Credit to Jake Paul, credit to Eddie Hearn, the promoters of the event. They made a $1 million bet, but that hasn't materialized because I think, promoters aren't meant to bet on their fighters' fights. So that got vetoed. But nevertheless, people tried to claim that Amanda got robbed. But I think, once they watch it back and really analyse the fight, then Katie Taylor did nick it. And talking of female boxing, my little sister Gabrielle is a female boxer. Oh, she's a boxer, man. Let's not call her a female boxer. She's a boxer. She's a great boxer at that. She's got really fierce body punches, I tried to spar her once and not going to lie, I got a little bit shook. We'll put her Instagram details below, but check her out. She's got a fight coming up soon, end of May, I think. So, yeah, make sure you check it out, 21st of May. Fighting actually a local Northampton fighter from Team Shoebox. So, yeah, interesting clash of the Titans there. And, of course, speaking of Shoebox, the local Sofa Sensei's alumni, Nico Michael, is fighting this Saturday, May 8th. Sold out event in Northampton. Park in. Check him out. Keep an eye on his social media at Nico Michael to check in with his latest fight. So, yeah, hope he's doing well. Hope training's gone well. Hope recovery's gone well. And hopefully we can check in with him after the fight. But, like I say, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, fantastic platform for women's boxing. And I wish them the best. Amanda's come out recently and said, she's not even a real lightweight, I think it is. Whatever. Let's not make those excuses. Let's just bask in the glory that you have, I think she's now something like 36-1, which isn't a bad record. Amanda can go on. She can get so many fights. She's got a great vehicle behind her in Jake Paul, so she'll make some more money. And hopefully Katie Taylor's made enough money, and just her style alone is what concerns me in terms of moving forward. And she's 35 now. She doesn't have anything left to prove. She's already an Olympic gold medalist. She's already a twice unified, undisputed champion. She can call it a day and be completely satisfied. And I think the fear is, if she doesn't retire and she does carry on fighting and eventually loses, which she will, she won't be satisfied with that. So, yeah, sad. Talking of retirement, last thing from me. Tyson Fury, obviously, after this Dillian Whyte fight, is insisting he's going to retire. I don't think he will. I think it's sort of a money ploy. I hope he gets the joy that he's seeking after having such a big, high-intensity fight in front of 94,000 people. I hope he gets the adulation he deserves. But most importantly, I hope, because he hasn't taken that much damage, I hope we see him in again with people like Anthony Joshua, with people like Alexander Usyk. And you know what? I'd be satisfied with those two fights to unify and all the titles and become undisputed, whoever the winner is. And I just want to see the AJ fight for the sake of it. So, yeah, that's all from me. And that is all from this week's episode 5 of Sofa Sensei. So, I hope you don't mind, but it has just been me today talking to you. Let me know what you think the predictions are about UFC 274, Canelo versus Bivol, and, of course, what the thoughts are around the rest of the topics we discussed today. So, if you need to get in touch with us, it's akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. We are akhi&saltfish on Instagram, and all the shows have their own Instagram as well. If you're a Twitter buddy, if you're aka Elon Musk's best friend, you can definitely check us out on Twitter at akhi&saltfish. Look, we love to get involved with you, and we hope to build a community of Akhi and Saltfish listeners. So please do check in and let us know what your thoughts are. As always, leave us a 5-star review. It really helps out the network, and share it with a few friends as well. Let me know what your thoughts are to these fights. I'm accessible and I'm willing to be challenged, but ultimately we are armchair experts, we are couch coaches, and most importantly, we are the Sofa Sensei's. It's been great. Take care. Goodbye. Oh, before I go, by the way, I've been meaning to say this on all the other episodes. You hear this song? Let me turn it up. A special thank you goes out to my brother Troy for producing this one. It's a fantastic embodiment of what a Sofa Sensei is. Aggressive, scatty, and sometimes exciting. So that is being Surfer Sensei's on the Akhi&saltfish Digital Network. Check us out, share with a friend. Good night.